organizing your data for sanity. Now, I don't mean just organizing your data for security. Of course, you want to keep your credit card numbers sacred, banking information safe. But I'm talking about the broader issue of organizing your data to be sane. Have you ever come back from a vacation, you're relaxed, you're comfortable, and you fire up your computer, and wow, you've got 10,000 emails waiting. Now, this is assuming you didn't spend 5 hours a day on your vacation answering emails. But let's assume you got away from it all, didn't answer email for a week or maybe a few days, and now you got all this stuff. How are you organizing your data so your head doesn't explode? This is a big, big problem. And that's why I believe that one of the 7 keystones of daily habits deals with this whole sphere of how you organize yourself, how you organize your life, your day-to-day schedule. What is it you actually do? I'll share with you some of what I have as daily habits. Is my email box has to be empty at 3:59 each day. That's when I officially end my work day. Now, I do other readings, I do other things that benefit my work, but I try to get away from the computer, literally turn the computer off at 4 p.m. And I envision a little Fred Flintstone whistle blowing at 3:59 saying, that's it, work over. And it just helps me focus my energy, my attentions, get more done during the day. But how do I get rid of the email? Part of it is you've got to be really aggressive at not even signing up and giving your email address to people, or having an email address that you give that you don't check that isn't your primary email. That's a part of it. Part of it is being very, very aggressive at unsubscribing from email and from deleting email and putting email you don't want into spam. Now, it's been a long time since I've hired anyone, but I certainly remember there was a school of thought. I won't tell you whether I did it or not. I'll let you guess. There was a school of thought, 5-10 years ago, that if you want to hire someone, you should have them show you their email box. If it's full of lots and lots of emails, and some of them from 3 weeks ago, that's a sign in and of itself. Don't hire them. They're not an organized person. Their mind is not organized. I like having that clean email box. Part of it is impose a discipline. I try to look at each email no more than once and then handle it. Either respond, delete it, file it, put it in a Salesforce database. But don't let it sit there and come back to it and come back to it. It's a horrible system for organizing. Other things that I try, I haven't done this quite as well. I haven't completely mastered it. It's one of my goals for this year. This comes courtesy of Tim Ferriss, the 4-Hour Work Week. You heard me reference him from time to time on this program. He used to have this plan where he only checked email once a day. I believe it was 3:30. And he would send out an automatic responder to people saying, if it's urgent, you better call because I don't check this email but once a day. I'm trying to force myself to look at email just twice a day. I'm not quite there yet. But that is one of my own habit goals for 2020. That's right, even the habit influencer is trying to influence himself with even stronger organizational habits. Other things I try to do every single day just to be better organized. Eliminate clutter. When there's clutter around you, it clutters up your brain. It's harder to focus. And I don't know all the circumstances as to why the votes were not counted in this United States election in Iowa yesterday. But at some point, there's too many data points. There's too much clutter somewhere. It could all be digital. But I like to free my brain to think more clearly by reducing clutter. So I try to eliminate every scrap of paper from my desk by the end of the day. Now, during the day, I may have things going and there's activity. And yes, there are some rare exceptions. The absent-minded professor who's got clutter everywhere and you ask them for something, they know right where it is. But most human beings are not like that. If there's clutter everywhere in their desk, on their computer, then it clutters the brain. You are less productive. I know personally I am much more productive if I can sit down at my desk first thing in the morning and the desk is clean. There's nothing to focus on other than what is most important. I didn't used to be like this. I even like to empty my trash even if there's only 1 or 2 pieces of paper in it. I like to end the day where everything is clean. Right now I have a number of papers and notes for you for this show. As soon as they're done, I'm going to put them into this recycling bin right underneath my table in the studio, so I don't even have to look at the extra clutter tomorrow and sift through the paper. Because there used to be a time I'd come in, put a paper down, and now it's lost with all these other papers. I like to use a Salesforce database. Now, I'm not shilling for Salesforce. I'm not an affiliate of Salesforce. There may be a million reasons why Salesforce is awful, and I don't even know, but you need something to organize yourself. So when I have a prospect write to me and I send them a proposal for a personal development workshop or an in-person media training workshop or public speaking workshop, I create an entry for them in the Salesforce database. I note that they wrote to me. I cut and paste that, or I email that email into the database. I then send an email to them and it automatically goes into the database. I then click on when I want to follow up. It might be in 2 days to see if they receive the proposal. It might be in a week to follow. It could be 3 months. But I put it in the database and I put it in a specific time for me to look at it again. And then I don't think about it. And it automatically pops up on my computer screen that day when I'm supposed to follow up, because I have the automatic setting on my Salesforce to show me everything that is past due and due. And typically there's nothing past due because I keep it up to date. You might be able to do all of that on a Rolodex, a piece of paper, an old-fashioned catalog. You don't have to use technology for that, but you got to use something. If you want to be, I believe, a fulfilled person, a serious person, a person who accomplishes things, you have to control your own data. All of us are swimming in data all the time. Friends' names, friends' addresses, friends' phone numbers, clients, customers, things to do. When are you going to go to the Sprint store to get your cell phone renewed? There's things you've got to do to control data. It's essential to being a human being in 2020. A lot simpler 200 or 300 years ago when all you had to worry about was planting your corn and keeping your cow healthy and keeping your horse healthy. Not saying it was better then or easier then, but it was simpler in terms of managing data. To be a human being in 2020 and to be someone who can accomplish things, to lead a fulfilling, purposeful life, I believe you need a system for managing data. And if you don't have it, it causes so many other problems. I was reading an article just this morning, and I've referenced it in the notes section. But it's from an expert who says there's certain things you can do to really stand out and be more successful in your career. And this one expert mentioned that he keeps the name of every single person he's ever worked with, every associate, every colleague, and he sends every single person a Christmas card every year, no matter what, even if he hasn't seen the person in 10 years. And you may give out a few Christmas cards. We do it some, but not in that systematic way. And this person says, yeah, he spends a couple days every year. It's a massive, massive project. It's now thousands of cards that go out, and there's some expense. But he says, you know what? Anytime I need something, anytime I want something, when I call or write someone I've sent a Christmas card to every year for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, they always take my call. They always respond right away. That person manages data well. Now, I'm not suggesting you have to do things just in for a cynical purpose of getting what you want. It's not a quid pro quo. In his case, he's just sharing good feelings with everyone he knows And then whether it's 5% or 1% or half of a percent of the people on his card list, at some point he reaches out to, it's a warm, warm feeling they get from him because he remembered them. And again, I'm not great at doing that. I send out Christmas cards to close friends and family. I have not done it. Or holiday cards, we should say. I've not done it with certainly every associate, every client, every colleague I've worked with before. Probably a good idea. You can't do it if you don't manage your data. It's a problem at a societal level. When political parties can't even tell you who their nominee is, it's a problem at a personal level if you can't manage your own data. And certainly those of you job hunting, many of you are in my job interview skills online course. If you can't figure out where you've been and who you're talking to, you get confused and you don't know what's going on, you're much less valuable, you're much less likely to appeal to prospective employers. So please keep that in mind.